Big smile, she says.
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
Hello.
We're live.
We are in
Just
the
about.
room. Just about, yes. All behind like the duck's arse, but there we go. Same as usual.
Okay. Always late. Always late. It's witching
Always
time.
late but worth the wait, I think you'll find is the phrase.
Indeed. Never was a true word, etc., etc.
How are you?
Well, yeah, I am, because I've been as we were just saying, I've been incredibly busy. There's a real surge in energy. It's that New Year feel that we were talking about last year, and it's like I want to get things really underway so that I'm clear-headed and focused, and I know what I want to do with the rest of the year and what I want to get done, and I need to organise myself, which, as you can see from behind me, it's still work in progress.
Yeah.
Big energy uptick.
The point is that you've got the energy and the oomph to want to get it done.
I haven't really, but I'm making myself. I felt quite nauseous earlier today, and I've no idea why. I don't feel brilliant at all. But you know what? I just thought, sod it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly the same with me. So I've come down with not the lurgy, but a lurgy. Yes, and various tests done, but no, apparently it's just a cold, and I don't feel ill, I just feel a bit
bit off.
And normally, I mean, I normally suffer from inertia anyway, but normally if I've
you do.
I do. So yeah, normally, if I'm struck with a lurgy of some description, jolly good excuse to do even less. But actually, I've had the opposite thing, and the last couple of days have been really productive. I acquired a huge amount of vegetables, which was roughly about 2 cubic meters of vegetables, which is a lot of veg. And I've been cooking it up. I've been sorting it out. I made some a nice root vegetable stew for a neighbour, and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's been brilliant. And I've been sorting out loads of paperwork and the stuff that has to be done that I normally put off. And I've been sorting that out in good time. And it's been actually really quite surprising. And as you say, it's definitely that energy shift in the air. And it's funny, it sort of catches you up unawares, doesn't it? And it's not until you talk to somebody else that you suddenly think, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Incredibly busy, very productive, lots of sensible ideas of ways to just clear stuff, move it. We went to, I mean, I felt really bad about having to do this, but we had to go to the recycling centre, aka the tip, to get rid of a lot of stuff from our shed. And I'd offered free cycle stuff, but when there were no takers, you have to get rid. So we booked our slot and duly loaded up the bee, quite fulsomely. And I feel so bad about what.
It's dreadful, isn't it?
I really feel bad about having to put stuff in these things, but it had to be gone. It was starting to get, very silly and very cluttery. We want to make the best use of our space. We haven't got a lot. We've got more space than most, but more space than you for sure. But we still seem to fill it, and we need to be more productive about that. So that was the start of the busy week. And I've had eBay madness, really busy with eBay, although today's been quieter. It's kind of focuses the mind. It's like, I need more space and more clarity in order to be able to cope with this, because I'm going to feel overwhelmed otherwise.
It's funny, really, because I've been having conversations this week about pretty much the same thing, about clearing clutters, not necessarily stuff that's got an emotional attachment, although there is stuff that I need to shift from that too. But clearing stuff that you just genuinely don't need and haven't got rid of, because it ends up just being dead space, dead money, and you can use it for something that you actually want, rather than it just sitting in a box and taking up space and thoughts, actually, because you know that it's there. So
your energy
about that this week too.
It does sap your energy when you've got something sat there. And I've had these two kind of big baskets full of what I call my reject scarves. They're actually really nice, but they're not part of my retirement fund collection, let's put it that way. I have 6 very large boxes of those all filed away. So these are ones that didn't quite make the cut, and I was, I could sell them at this fair or that fair, but actually, I know I'm not going to list them on eBay. I know I haven't got time to do them all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take them to my local flea market that runs on a Friday morning. Take a stall there if it's not stupidly expensive, and basically farm them out of £2 or £3 each.
Yeah.
And
excellent.
I have got a lot, so that could be quite profitable.
Could be quite
assuming
lucrative.
People want scarves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got some people in. Let's say our hellos, shall we? Blind everybody with my glasses. Look.
Oh God, yes. There are typos creeping in, which are hilarious.
Yeah, all right. What have we got here? Red Wing. Good evening, folks. Hello. Hope you're well today. We've got Hannah Lee. Hello, Hans. Hope you're well today. Hello, also witches. We've got Bridget. God evening. I think you're in the wrong place, love.
It's all right. Also correct.
Exactly. Yeah. So yes, good evening. Just a typo. Oh, you just can't beat a typo, can you?
Oh,
I had a verbal typo today. That was quite funny. So Kat did the dish dance, and I thought, oh, I will try it with new pouches. I got some new cheap pouches from Sainsbury's, and I thought, well, Sainsbury's is, it's not cheap nasties. I'll get some of those. And he looked at it, he sniffed it, and walked stiff-leggedly away. So I was like, well, he's very successful. When he gets hungry, he'll come back. So he came back and looked at it as though it was some kind of, well, God knows what. And he started to walk away again. And I was washing up, and I said to him, I haven't just defecated in your dish. And he suddenly swung his head round like he hadn't heard the first part. It's like, you did what?
Ew.
His face was a picture. So either way, it's still not been eaten, but we'll see.
My cats are on the cheapest. Well, basically, I ended up getting them a kind of a home bargains pack of food because some kind of own brand that you don't even know what you're going to get in it, apart from the fact it's sort of various chicken flavours, because they're not so big on the fish. And I bought it because there was nothing else available. The usual Whiskers was not to be had. So I thought, I've got to get them something. So and actually, to be fair, I bought another box of it because they've been chowing it down. So clearly, branding is not everything.
No, well, as I say, I've been giving mine a rather upmarket brand, and clearly anything other than that is terribly inferior. But it was just his face. It was just like, you did what?
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. Less of that. So apart from your energy shift, have you been doing any magic this week?
Not a great deal, because I have been exceedingly just busy. I've been thinking a lot about magic because obviously with Samhain coming up, I've been digging out my old photo albums because I've got those in here because I need a better place for them. I don't think it's appropriate. They should just be lumped away in here. But looking at pictures of my dear father, bless him, and when he was young, he looked so much like my son.
Oh,
incredibly, the resemblance is extraordinary. I mean, really, the future bodes well for Alex if he continues to look like my father. He'll do well for himself. But certainly the pictures of him at a young age, and even my stepmom said it. She said, gosh, he looks so much. Look at that picture of your dad when he was young, which is one I hadn't seen before.
Yeah,
he does. It's just that he's considerably taller already. But built on the same sort of game plan. Really strange to see it. So it's sad that I haven't got my father around anymore. Of course it is, but it's extraordinary to see him kind of coming through. It's like, wow.
It's strange, isn't it? Yeah, it is strange. I love looking back at old photographs, and it's one of those things actually that I think is almost, it's a shame almost that the digital photography has taken off in quite the way it has, because nobody saves it, nobody prints it. And it's nice to just look back, and you get your memories on Facebook and stuff like that. But the really old photographs, people just tend not to get them out anymore or have them because they take up space. And
I
yeah,
suppose so, but people take more pictures. There were very few when I was very young because I didn't have a camera. My sister was a bit camera nuts and did take pictures, but thank goodness she did, because otherwise there wouldn't be anything.
That's right. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so in a way,
of course, there was always the processing, which was expensive, and
yeah,
the actual film was
come out like that.
expensive. Yeah, exactly. And you didn't quite know what you were taking, so you sort of as you say, lop somebody's head off, and you sort of like, you know, or you got the top of somebody's head and a huge great
little scenery.
Whose forehead was that?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pluses
But
and
as I say,
minuses.
it's there are pluses and minuses, but I think that whole thing of looking back through old family pictures, you know, whether it's, you know, sort of whether you're in it or whether you're not, but it's just that whole thing of looking back and seeing. I think it's wonderful, actually, and as you say, it's perfect for this time of year. You know, with
Very
the ancestors,
appropriate. Yeah.
You know, the ancestors' thought process of, you know, who have gone before and so on. I'll tell you what I fished out last week, the end of last week, and I fished out a recipe book that had been given to my grandmother by her mother, and it must have been for her 18th birthday. But it's handwritten, and it was written in 1908 when my grandmother would have been 18. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it must have been, you know, sort of obviously this whole thing of being 18 and moving up and moving on and that kind of thing. And so it's all handwritten, but it's 1908, and it's a full book of all sorts of things. And what's so fascinating about it is it's a real insight as to not only what was available at that time, and obviously it's very seasonal as well, because obviously you know, there wasn't the imports and the freezers and stuff that we enjoy now. But also what's really interesting is people's attitude to food. So there's a section in this book, and it's how to care for an invalid. And it's not just give them chicken soup and, you know, and a recipe for that. It's how to actually treat these people and give them space. And it's really, really interesting.
Wow.
Really interesting. So yeah, I was having a look through that at the end of last week. So that was a real gem. And yeah, obviously I've had it for quite some time, but yeah, 1908, a long time ago.
Your grandmother was 18 in 1908. My grandmother wasn't born until 1913.
Yeah.
And she's long gone. Bless her.
Yeah.
You know,
my mother's mum was born in 1896, and then my father's mum was born in 1890.
It's amazing, isn't it? You know, just obviously generations stretch out if people have their kids sort of somewhat younger, older, and that will happen for my son, because obviously I was quite old when I had him. So yeah.
And it's really bizarre. It's like the lady that I look after, she's 97, and obviously she's old enough to be just old enough to be my grandmother. But my grandmothers were both old enough to be her grandmother.
Yeah.
Which is really bizarre. So yeah, but obviously, you know, they had them, you know, both my grandmothers had children late in life, and then you know, and obviously then my mum had me quite late in life. So yeah, and obviously that's hence the generation stretch. It's really bizarre. Really bizarre, but it's fascinating. It is fascinating.
Particularly as back then people tended to have children younger, I guess, as you know, sort of get married early, have your kids, you know, when you're about 20ish, and kind of off you go from there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's rather bizarre, but it was fascinating looking at it, you know, and sort of seeing the attitude, not just to you know, it's not just a recipe book, and it's not sort of written like a memoir or anything like that, but it's literally saying how to look after people via food. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, Chris
It's about 100 pages, so there's a lot of it.
Yeah. Chris Wibbletrigger said here, she said, I think one of the worst things my ex-husband did was to destroy a lot of my family photos. Unforgivable. That's so sad.
That's so sad. Yeah.
And that's the thing, because you can't get those back unless you've got another member of the family who's got some, and it's not
the negatives or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Yeah, difficult.
Yeah. Wow. And then Chris also says, isn't it wonderful to have those memories? I remember my grandfather telling me about Queen Victoria's funeral, and he was 4 when it happened. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Really amazing. Yeah. It's funny how people's attitudes and that change, though. And it kind of leads me on to one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. Obviously, we've got Samhain coming up, and we'll come to that. And obviously, we talked about the energy shift and that sort of thing. And we're off to a party, are we not?
We are indeed.
Yeah. But because I've got the lurgy, a lurgy, not the.
Yeah, you'll get rid of it by then.
Exactly, and because I've been looking through this this old book last week, I thought it might be an opportunity to talk about not alternative medicines as such, but kind of like home remedies that have been handed down, that sort of thing. Because obviously, yes, you can go off to the chemist and get yourself some Lemsip or whatever, but there's an awful lot of remedies out there that there's an awful lot of really rubbish ones, but there's a lot of really yes. But there are some that have got good general basis and still work, whether it's today or 200 years ago. So that's quite an interesting thing, and obviously it's a big topic, and you've got the herbology thing and all kinds of stuff. But in today's world, they're becoming more and more forgotten, and I think that's a real shame.
True, although I think there are an awful lot of Facebook groups and people of like mind who are getting together and sharing this stuff. I mean, I had so little of it passed to me because my mother didn't have it, didn't get around passing it on to me. She wasn't alive long enough, and my grandmother didn't really think to pass much on, so I didn't get much at all. So everything I've picked up has been from other places. I mean, everyone knows, honey and lemon, great for a cold or a sore throat, but beyond that, there weren't, it just wasn't there because they, as you say, they were much younger, so they'd not been told.
Yeah.
So,
but there's an awful lot out there. Do you, apart from the honey and lemon thing, have you got any go-to remedies that you tend to prefer?
I don't. Well, there's certain obvious ones that work for me, like flat lemonade works great if I'm feeling there and a bit nauseous, because it just seems to be a good stomach settler. I'll use Epsom salts, which is a fairly old and basic thing as well. That can help with an upset stomach. But generally, I don't tend to take things because I tend to sort of try and work out in my head what's going on and try and work it on the inside and change what's going on with me. I can't always do that. So if I feel like I'm getting a cold, what I tend to do is you've got to make sure you drink enough and you sleep well enough. They're the kind of two things that are fundamental to almost any health. But then I will literally go and go, okay, there's the beginning of a cold here. I need it gone. And so I might get the initial, but then it disappears. I rarely come down with a full-blown cold.
Yeah. So what would you do then with that? Would you just go with the honey and lemon thing, or hot toddies, or what would you go with?
Well, I don't really do hot toddies because I don't drink whiskey, so that's not going to happen.
I had one of them yesterday. Lovely.
But yeah, but like I say, honey and lemon is a good go-to. But generally, I don't tend to take much. I've always tended to eat what I feel like anyway. So if I feel I need chocolate for energy, then chocolate it is. I do, certain things, certain flavors. I think if you're feeling a bit poorly, will taste better to you than they would at another time. So if I've got a hankering for something, I will have it. I've needed jam on my toast for the last few days. I don't normally have jam, but something is different. It's required, so jam it is.
Yeah, it's very important to listen to what your body says and not override it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I try and do, is listen to what our body's actually saying. Because I think if you ignore it too often, it kind of either stops telling you, or you get a lot worse ill before you actually start to listen up.
Exactly. I mean, they say the same thing about women that are expecting, don't they? That they sort of have certain cravings for a reason, because there's something lacking. But I have to say that with my first pregnancy, my craving was pot noodle with sugar on. And I have no idea to this day what particular deficiency I have had.
Very, very strange.
I worked in an office at that time, and because it used to turn everybody else's stomach to see me doing it, I used to have to go and eat it in the stationery cupboard.
Banished.
I really was banished to the stationery cupboard. It was like, that's disgusting. Go away. Go and sit in there and eat it. So I did.
Yeah, I think my cravings when I was pregnant was strawberries and cream, frozen Snickers bars. It was an exceedingly hot summer, it has to be said. Frozen Snickers bars, Mars bars.
Yeah.
Not Mars bars, marathons. And it was that kind of sort of high energy, high calorie food. And somebody did say to me, well, should you eat that? It's got peanuts in it. And I'm like, yes, absolutely, because that's what I need. And he doesn't have a peanut allergy, so QED. I think if you avoid foods, you store up all kinds of problems. But I really couldn't eat very much, particularly in the later stages, because he took up far too much space. There was no room for me to actually eat. So but I've always been the same. If I want to eat something, I'll eat it. I mean, hopefully not massively to excess, but I'll give it a go.
Give it a whirl. Exactly. Yeah. Last year I made a huge batch of rosehip syrup, because there was an absolute glut of rosehips here.
That's good for colds, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And there was an absolute glut of them last year. There's not so many this year. And it's quite funny because I was expecting a really, long, hard winter because there were so many. And obviously it's the old wives' tale, isn't it? There's lots of berries, therefore long, hard winter. But I have to say that doesn't seem to be...
Doesn't always follow now.
Years, no. I mean, maybe years ago, but certainly doesn't seem to be the case now. But I made huge quantities of it. And actually I was having a good old spoonful of it every day. And it, I didn't get my usual winter cold at all. So whether that was just because of everybody wearing masks and that's why, or whether it was coincidental, or whether it was because I was taking this rosehip syrup, quite religiously, I don't know. But I like things like that. If you've got the opportunity to do it, then why not?
Absolutely, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah. And I've got a great big rose bush just by my front door that has very, very conveniently provided lots and lots of rosehips. So, yes, I think that might be my job for tomorrow.
You're going to make it again?
Thanks more. I'll let you have a job.
I don't mind if I do. I think that'd be splendid. Chris Wibbletrick has got some extraordinary tales.
Right, okay. Now let me see here. Right, so Hans says, Vic on the bottom of your feet with socks on in bed for colds. Yeah, that's supposed to be for the cough, isn't it? If you've got a cough, Vic on the bottom of your feet with socks on. Yeah, that works a treat, that one. And right, so what we got here? So Chris says, my father's grandmother would plaster their chests in goose fat, cover it in brown paper, and sew their vest to their pants. This was a cold cure. How did they go to the loo? And then back then, pants had a convenient flap to undo for toilet purposes. Dad said it stank, but worked. Mum wouldn't ever try it. Oh my God, how grim.
Yeah, stoning for your pants.
Wow. My God. Well, I suppose you wouldn't get cold with that on, would you?
Well, no one would come near enough to you to give you the germs. So yes, it worked, but possibly for different reasons.
Ooh, yuck.
Grim.
They used to put do you remember they used to have the people that were doing the cross channel swimming? They used to put goose fat over there, didn't they? Oh man.
Yeah. Oh dear, yes.
Ugh. Yuck. Yeah. Don't know which was worse, the cold water or the goose fat. Ugh.
Both. I would never think to attempt it.
That was always one of the things that used to astound me about Blue Peter. It's like, oh my God, there's a person in the water and they've got goose fat all over them. How disgusting.
Yeah. Why?
Oh God. And then another hint that Chris comes up with is water that cabbage has been boiled in keeps your skin free from acne, and that one works. I'll tell you something else that's really, I'll tell you what else is brilliant for acne. And if you've, not acne, sorry, with cabbage, and it's obviously a skin thing, cabbage, because if you get cabbage leaves, the darker the better usually. But if you get cabbage leaves and crumple them up so that they're pliable rather than stiff like they normally are. And if you've got psoriasis or eczema or sores, it works on animals too. If you then, once you've crumpled it up, you uncrumple it and then place it over your afflicted area, and then, you know, either bandage it on or put some cling film over it or something like that, it will get rid of that too. And I remember telling somebody about that, oh God, it must be 15, 20 years ago. And she had one of those little Westies, you know, the little white dogs, the West Highland Terriers. And of course, being a white dog, they have, and they're known to skin complaints, aren't they? And she tried everything at the vets. She, you know, she'd had steroids. This dog had had all sorts of things, and it was constantly going backwards and forwards to the vet. And I said, "Have you tried this thing?" You know, and she's like, "Well, I will try it because it's last resort." And I think it was about 36 hours, and there was an improvement. By the end of the week, all the problems had gone. It was really quick.
Amazing.
Yeah. So obviously, cabbage and skin has got a good connection.
Well, it's got something in it, clearly. I mean,
clearly,
you know, my son, bless him, suffers with some teenage spots, shall we say. Poor love. But I can't see him wanting to splash cabbage water on them. But, you know.
Perhaps you could just throw a bucket over him while he's asleep.
Yeah. He might never talk to me again, but...
See how that goes down, yeah. Or as he goes past you in the morning, just sort of flick it at him.
a stinky bed you'd end up with, wouldn't you? I've heard about the cabbage leaves if you have... for breastfeeding mums who have sore nips.
Yes.
I have heard of that. I never actually tried it myself, but it's very much a known thing. Yeah.
Also, calendula was good for that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Jennifer. Hiya. Hi. So yeah, it's interesting though that you've got, that's 3 things then with cabbage, isn't it? So water with acne, and obviously the water will absorb whatever properties the cabbage has got. Again, I suppose you could do the whole face thing, just crumple up a lettuce, a cabbage leaf, and then fling it over his face.
Yeah. A nice big Savoy cabbage leaf.
Just tell him Becky said so and stand still.
How to alienate your child.
Blame me. Becky says I've got to do this. He might not talk to me, mind you, but still.
It's me you might be talking to. You're all right. I'm your mother, remember?
Oh dear, yeah, I can't see that being a particularly sensible conversation or one that he particularly listens to, but it's worth a conversation, maybe. If it works,
you never know.
You never know. But yeah, as I say, so there's clearly a chemical in there that's good for human skin. So there you go. So yeah, so that's rather a good one, isn't it? And of course, then we've got lavender. We better talk about lavender because it's your cure-all, really, isn't it?
It's pretty good for an awful lot of things.
It really
Not
is,
everybody likes the fragrance of it, which can be a problem. Some people are very sensitive to it, but yeah, it's pretty much a calming, influence, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, but it's brilliant for burns. Really good for burns. So if you put yourself on the oven or the iron or something like that, I believe there is such a thing as an iron. I think there's such a thing as an iron, I believe.
Well, I haven't used one in many a long year, but I did get a burn from the oven. And I did literally put lavender oil straight, it wasn't broken skin, obviously, but that really, really helped. Always found that useful.
It really clears it up quick, doesn't it? So so that's a good one. And so what I did dig out before coming on was just a couple of or 3 of my books that are I think particularly good of dealing with kind of modern remedies and stuff, because you've got herbology and you've got all sorts of stuff, and you can use plants magically and so on. And these are particularly plant magic books that I've got, but they've got all sorts of things in there, but I'd recommend these, and I've pulled them out because I'd recommend them. And the first one is A Kitchen Witch's World of Magical Plants and Herbs.
Oh yes, you can see that.
You can see that, and that's Rachel Patterson. So yeah, I do recommend that. That's really nice. You've got sort of a mixture of all sorts of things. So you've got lots of magical properties and correspondences. Plus you've sort of got different cures and remedies as well as that, as all of these have. This one's a really, really interesting one. This is a new one. So this is Christina Oakley Harrington from Treadwell's.
Oh, yes, we know her well. Lovely woman.
Yeah, so that's
what a lovely cover.
It is. It's beautiful. This is a lovely book, this one. So this is Treadwell's book of plant magic. And again, there's all sorts of bits and bobs in there. More magical than curative, if you like. But nevertheless, still one that I would highly recommend. That's a really lovely one. And then this one doesn't often get a mention, but this is an absolute corker of a book. This is Dorothy Morrison. This one, Bud, Blossom and Leaf. And this one's an absolute corker because it talks about every aspect of it. So it actually talks about the gardening aspect of it as well as the magical aspect and curative properties and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really nice, this particular book. I like this one. I refer back to this a lot. So yeah, so those are three that I would recommend if anyone's interested in popping down the library or something like that.
Treadwell's.
Yeah. Ooh, Treadwell's. That's jealous. Yes.
Yeah, we love Treadwell's.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. Good.
Fantastic bookshop.
Yeah.
Those in London.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Other bookshops are not available.
I'm sure they have mail order.
Yeah. Actually, Treadwell's do have mail order. I got that on mail order. So what have we got here? So we've got, Chris says, shredded carrot to draw out infection. Ooh, that's different. Such as a splinter wound. Use it like a poultice. That's interesting. Not tried that one. I've done the hot cupping thing with splinters. But obviously, you know, once it's in, it's likely out again. It's likely to cause an infection. So shredded carrot, I didn't know that one. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we've got here cold. Tan says 2 lemons, knot of ginger, tablespoon of honey, tablespoon of cider vinegar, pinch of cayenne pepper, and a pinch of turmeric. God, I bet that's nasty.
That's cookery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of that.
That's a chuck down your neck and don't think about it. It's probably very good for sore throat, I would imagine. Cider vinegar being disinfectory, you know.
Yeah. Actually, talking of turmeric, I was talking to my daughter last week, and she eats a lot of superfoods. She's well into the superfood idea of things. And she'd bought some, oh God, what was it? Something special that had it had 3 varieties, and one was like a plain thing. I can't think what it was. Anyway, one had turmeric in it, and she decided to have it with her porridge. It turned into a curry. She said it was the most peculiar porridge ever.
Curried porridge. There's a
curried porridge curry. Yeah.
I like curry, but
not in porridge format. Not in porridge format with jam.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she'd had she stuck with her regular jam. What was it? Anyway, whatever it was, this superfood thing. And there were 3 new varieties that she wanted to try. And she's like, so don't eat turmeric porridge. Apparently it's really unpleasant. It's like,
I'm sure it is.
I don't feel the need for somebody to advise me on that, actually.
Turmeric, great in curries, otherwise to be avoided. Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, turmeric's one of these superfoods, isn't it? It's, a bit of a cure-all.
It's got a lot of healing properties to it. Yeah.
And says, what's an iron, please? Exactly. So what have we got here? Red Wing says thyme oil in a diffuser helps colds and such. Now, thyme oil. I'll tell you what else is really good as a good oil, either for topical use in a carrier or in a diffuser like that. And that's black pepper oil. It smells horrible. But it absolutely does the trick. And that's really more than it's used for that more than anything else, actually. So yeah, and then Jennifer says, has there been a frost there yet? No, in a word. It's been very damp. It's not been cold enough for frost at all.
Not yet.
But yeah, rose hips better after a frost. I've heard that actually before. Last year, mind you, when I harvested, there hadn't been a frost, and the rosehip syrups that I made were, I gave quite a few bottles away because I made a lot, and I gave quite a few bottles away, and I didn't have any complaints, put it that way. But
maybe it makes them a little more more concentrated. You know, a bit like you get with sloes and things. They break down a bit better, perhaps.
Yeah, they say that sprouts are better after a frost, don't they?
Yeah, maybe, but
unless you're one of those people that has them on a plate and puts them in the pocket in order to take them to the toilet when no one's looking. I mean, obviously there is that. So yes, garlic and lots of vodka. So yes, garlic. Oh my god,
garlic and onions.
Everything. Garlic.
Everything has onions in. Everything has garlic in. Everything has tomatoes in, because those foods are very protective, I think, against colds.
They are, but they're also brilliant. Garlic's excellent for your heart. I mean, they make garlic tablets, don't they? So for those people that are conscious of their aroma, me personally, I don't find stuff. If I like something that's garlic, if it calls for 1 clove of garlic, you can guarantee I'll have pretty much a whole bulb, because I love garlic. I really do.
Me too.
I have to say that I don't have any vampires. No, so clearly it works a treat. So no, definitely not got any vampires in this house.
And again, people keep far enough away not to give you the germs.
Exactly, yes. Hello. Off they go. Don't want to give me COVID, do you? No, you don't. Yeah. So when Hans says garlic and lots of vodka, I don't think they mean at the same time.
Oh, I do hope not.
Can you imagine garlic vodka?
No.
That's just wrong, isn't it? Yeah. Don't fancy that at all. Oh, here we go. Rosehips are more nutritious after the frost. Ooh, there we go.
That's probably lovely.
So, yes. And we've got Dawn Cherry Pauline. Hello, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes. So Chris says you can blet rosehips yourself by freezing them. Obviously that's the term, blet them.
It's the same with sloes, isn't it? If you're making sloe gin, you freeze them first to then get them to release.
Yeah. When I made sloe gin last year, I decided that I hadn't got any room in my freezer. Nothing. I had not even a square inch of space in my freezer at all. And so, of course, in order to get the sloes to release their goodness and their yumminess into the gin, I had to prick them all. Oh my God, that took forever. One at a time. Pick with a needle. Next. Pick. Oh God, it took forever. So it was definitely a labour of love. Worth it, because it was really tasty, but oh my God, it took forever.
A bit intense as a work experience.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that I'll do that again. But it worked. So yes. So anyway, I haven't heard that phrase before. Thanks, Chris. That's a new one on me. And then she says, don't need the frost then. Well, of course, absolutely not. And then Hans says, yuck, sprouts, yuck. Oh, they're just yumminess. Little balls of deliciousness. I love them. Yeah. Yeah. There's some chemical in sprouts, isn't there? Like there is in coriander, that people have an adverse effect to.
I think it's because they can be quite bitter, but I mean, there are certain ways of preparing them that I can eat them, at least at Christmas, but I don't touch them. Otherwise, I have no yearning.
There's some chemical in them that some people are basically don't experience and some people are aware of, and that's the bitterness thing.
Right.
But interestingly, coriander or cilantro, if you're listening abroad, that's got some chemical in it, and some people have a reaction to it where it tastes soapy.
Yeah, I've heard people say it tastes of soap. I'm not one of them. I love. No, I'm not. I love coriander.
It's one of my favourites. It's gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, I do actually. My eldest daughter, she's one of the soapy variety, and it took ages to work out what on earth she was talking about. And then I happened to read this article. It's like, oh, you're one of those.
Well, that's a bit
one of those people. How bizarre.
Now, Jennifer's just asking the book by Bianca, if you can just say what that was again. You had a book by Bianca?
I don't think I've got a Bianca. I've got Dorothy Morrison, Bud, Blossom and Leaf. That way. There we go. So, yeah, that's Dorothy Morrison. And then you might be thinking of this one. So it's the Plant Magic, and it's Christina Oakley Harrington.
Nothing like Bianca at all, but there you go.
There she is. Christina Oakley Harrington. So if I hold it up there, then anyone that's watching back, hello if you're watching back, by the way. Obviously
available from Treadwell's.
You can, and you can obviously pause and then write it down. And then this one is Rachel Patterson. There. And A Kitchen Witch's World of Magical Plants and Herbs. Yeah. So I don't think I've got anything by Bianca. I might have.
No, I don't think I have.
I didn't hold them up anyway. But yes, so those are the three that I pulled out that I particularly like. That I'll go back to time and time again. Which is it's nice when you've got some that you kind of like your go-to references, aren't they? I'm like that with aromatherapy. I've got certain books which are much, much better and to the point. Sometimes you just want, yes, you don't want all the all the frills and twirls that go with it. You just want this one for this one for this one for this. And I've got a few that are like that. And sometimes you want things that are a little bit more flowery. And so you pull it out for different reasons. But you have your go-to books, don't you? Definitely. So there we go. What else have we got here? Slow pricking. I used to get that as a job if I'd been a pre-Christmas pain in the bum when I was small. Well, I suppose it beats standing in the corner because at least you're functional.
Doing something useful. Yes.
Useful. Go and make yourself useful. I remember that phrase.
Don't pick a slow or thousand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And eat one if you're really, really bad. Eat that. What? Oh dear. But I think it's fascinating. There are so many things that just got forgotten. One of the things that really surprised me, it must be about 5 or 6 years ago now, I went on a nature walk with somebody that was, you were there, and it was a nature walk with somebody specifically with a view to highlighting indigenous British plants that had herbal properties. I don't know if you remember it. And the thing that really stuck in my mind more than any of the other things was daisies, funnily enough. And apparently on the back of the petals, so obviously when you look at a daisy, bog standard daisy that you found in the grass, when you look at the back, obviously on the front it's, you've got the yellow middle and then you've got your white petals. And on the back you've got the pink bits on the back of the petals, and apparently they're flavonoids and they have anesthetic properties, which for an adult you'd have to eat an awful lot of daisies for it to shift a headache.
It just graze a whole field.
Yeah, exactly. What's the matter with you? Headache. But apparently just 2 or 3 daisies for a child, there's enough analgesic in there, in that, just that pinky bit on the back. There's enough analgesia in there for small children if they've got a headache to alleviate it. So if they start chowing down on daisies, don't stop them. Not unless there's been a dog nearby. I mean, obviously that's different, but or the cat.
Might get more than they bargained for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Extra flavour.
But they're really good. So if you're, find yourself in a field with a really big headache, no paracetamol, daisies are there. So I think it's interesting though, and it's, but as I say, it's that specific bit. And the lady that took us on this walk, forget who it is now, but the lady that took us on this walk is very specific about the pink bit on the back of the daisies, and apparently that's in quite a few other things. I forget what now. I'm sure if you looked it up online you'd be able to find it. But they're flavonoids. So and I found that really interesting. So, and sometimes kids do eat things that you're not too sure about, but again, sometimes you just know, don't you? So
yes.
Yes. So there we go. Plantain actually was another one that was pointed out quite a lot, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's everywhere,
It is. It's all over the place, isn't it? And it's quite funny because it's not even as though it's spelt differently to the plantain, the Jamaican plantain, the great big banana. It's like,
it's not
really
that
convenient. It's not that. No, you don't get them. Oh, that'd be really squishy, wouldn't it? It's like you'd think somebody somewhere along the line would have made a differential there and added an extra letter or something, or an E. Good old E. But no, apparently not. So yeah. So sometimes you talk about plantain and people give you really funny looks, don't they?
Yes, they're thinking,
Really? No, not that plantain. So yeah, I find that quite amusing, really. But there we are. Oh dear. So on Saturday, then we're off to a Samhain party. We're off to a bonfire Samhain party. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. I really am. I just can't wait. I really can't. And it's that whole thing of being able to sit with friends around the fire, isn't it?
It is. Yes, we need there to be no rain. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I think we've got quite a big job to do, love.
Yeah, I know.
Have you looked at the like the Google Earth area, so to speak? Yeah. Have you done that?
I'm gonna look at it properly tomorrow, because I think it's sort of 24, 48 hours ahead is a sensible time to really look in detail at what might be happening. But we'll see. We'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I should be doing something similar myself. Let's see if we can't shift it. I mean, between the lot of us, we should be able to do something, surely. But
we should be able to at least keep it a little bit dry for long enough. That's all that's required.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a few hours and a bit of drizzle. It's tolerable, especially if you're around a big fire, because it evaporates before it gets to you, doesn't it?
Exactly. Light drizzle, not a problem. Torrential downpour, less so.
Not so much. Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm really looking forward to that. I think there's something so magical about just sitting around a fire, whether you sit in silence or whether you chat, whether you drink, whether you have tea and coffee, whatever. It's just such a magical thing to sit around the fire. It's really basal. It's lovely.
Very primal, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It really is. And I love that so much. And I'm so looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing our friends and things too. Really looking forward to that. And there's going to be some there that we've not seen for a few years too.
Oh, right. Oh, we have to fill me in on that.
I will. So yeah, I'm really just so looking forward to it. I really, really am. And yeah, but the call of the fire. Yes, please. Can't wait.
I've got to remember to sling my tent in.
Oh yes. We'll have a chat about that in a bit.
Indeed, yes. Things to take
ins and outs and what we're up to and what we're not.
Exactly.
What to take and what not to take and stuff. But I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, a little bit of magic definitely beforehand to make sure it's not rain stops play, because that would be really sad.
No, we'll be all right.
But yeah, no, it'll be good. I just can't wait. Actually, I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, that'll be a good one. What have we got here now? So Chris says, where are we? Willow bark for headaches. Salicylic acid. Yeah.
Drawing on the bark.
Yeah.
I think it's aspirin, isn't it? That comes from. Yeah, aspirin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then we've got, have you tried stinging nettles to relieve arthritic pain? Now, I've heard about this. That's brilliant. I feel brave enough to deliberately sting yourself. Oh,
no,
you see, that's, no, I haven't done it. And
but then I don't have arthritis. So
I do have arthritis, but there's that whole thing of like, don't know if I'm brave enough, like you say, brave enough to deliberately do that, because a sting for me lasts a very long time. I don't know how long they're supposed to last, how long it lasts with other people, but mine seems to last forever. It really hurts.
Well, I think it depends on the kind of arthritis you have as well, because there's more than one kind, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So no, I have heard of it, but I haven't tried it, is the answer to that, Chris. I've not been brave enough, really, and I do have it, but I'm just not quite brave enough to have tried it out again. Maybe if it spreads further and, you know, it becomes more of a problem, then maybe I'll be brave enough. I don't know. But if it does work, then it's worth it. But
yeah, it's got to be a bit of a problem for you to really want to go that far, I feel.
But then I suppose once you've experienced it and you've experienced the relief that it generates, then it would be worth it. But you've got to go through that in the first place, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it might not work for everybody. It's like most things, isn't it? People tend to react to drugs in very different ways, and so you've no way of knowing.
Yeah. See, I get with so Chris says stinging nettle is no worse than sunburn. So I get stung quite a lot because I eat a lot of stinging nettle, so I get stung quite regularly. Not on purpose, but even, you know, a couple of little stings really hurt. Sometimes actually having more stings is less painful than one or two.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the sting, or whether it's one of the new leaves or whether it's one of those great big buggers. Because some of those leaves are just vicious.
Yeah, bursting with it.
Yeah, exactly. You can almost see it drip. It's like, ugh. So, yeah. But, yes.
Someone at the flap.
Hello.
Oh,
yes. I have a new area in my house, by the way. You know, I've got a shrew corner.
Yeah.
And then I've got mouse corner. Well, apparently, the chair in the corner by the bookshelf has been dedicated to frogs.
Oh.
Live ones. Live ones. Teeny tiny live ones. And the one that I rescued yesterday, he was upside down, so I sort of righted him with the rubber at the end of a pencil, and then popped him onto a piece of paper to look at him. And when I righted him, he was like that. He was just sitting there.
So I can't bear to look.
I can't bear it. But he was sitting there like that. Let's take you back outside.
Really can't cope with indoors.
So I don't like it. Well, obviously one of the cats had brought it in and it was frightened, bless it. But it's just weird how they have certain areas in my house for different creatures.
Very odd.
But then this house is a bit odd, isn't it? So
true. But there are many corners.
So I think I might have to call the under that particular chair Toad Hall or something. I don't know.
Indeed.
Ooh, there's a frog in Toad Hall. How bizarre. Oh God. Yeah. Jennifer says no idea where Bianca came from. Thanks for showing the books again. It's like, no, definitely wasn't a Bianca there, was there? But yeah. Poor froggy. Yeah, poor little thing. It was so frightened, but at least it wasn't screaming, because when they catch them, sometimes they scream and scream and scream, don't they? But they all seem to do this hidey thing. But,
yes, you can't see me, I can't see you, sort of thing.
Yeah. But I've seen that lots of times. But he was sweet, and I'm glad to say he wasn't hopping about too much. He was capable, and he was just frightened and just static, which was much easier to deal with.
He was a functional frog.
He was functional frog. Yeah. Oh dear. So I now have Toad Hall as well. Yes, I think that serves a purpose, doesn't it? Toad Hall. Yes. Underneath the blanket on the chair. Oh God, you sort of have that whole thing, because it's Hattie that brings them in, because he's the one that brings animals in that are unharmed mostly, because of course he brings them in because he wants a new friend.
Exactly. No intention of eating them.
No, that's Bert's job. But Hattie brings them in. It's like, look what I found, isn't it lovely? It's like, no, you can't keep him. Out it goes. He looks very disappointed when I take them outside.
I bet he does. So you just got rid of my friend.
Take my friend out. But you can't keep him. I have a sneaking suspicion there's something underneath my bed.
What kind of something?
Something that's not supposed to be there.
Well, clearly. Something alive.
Something alive.
It is something alive, hopefully.
Well, hopefully it's still alive, yeah. I'm rather hoping that it's going to put an appearance in somewhere else so that I can evict it. But
you think it's kind of mouse-shaped, or?
Could be mouse-shaped, yeah, quite possibly. But there's been quite a lot of interest.
Oh, sort of cats looking intently.
So yes, so I do have a feeling that there might be a creature-shaped object underneath my bed.
What fun.
Yes, again. But it's an ongoing thing, isn't it? So there we go. Yes. Oh dear. Well, we're getting to the point of no return, basically.
Been there a long while.
And for those of you that are celebrating, I hope you're all celebrating actually, because it's just a lovely thing to celebrate, isn't it? So those that are celebrating Samhain / Halloween on Saturday and Sunday, I hope you have an amazing time, and we shall report back what an amazing time we had next week, I'm sure.
And possibly Sherry and the other side of the world might well be celebrating Beltane.
Absolutely, yes. Apologies, absolutely. And
quite possibly, I don't know. I'm making an assumption there.
Exactly, making an assumption, but a valid assumption, and one that needs addressing. So yes, of course, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're watching, have an amazing Beltane. So obviously coming up for all those shenanigans, and they're all jolly good fun, aren't they? Bright eyes, bushy tail. Oh, tally ho! That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you started her off now. Oh, dear.
Well, one can dream.
Yes.
Oh dear, I have a memory, you know.
Pleased to hear it.
I know it's quite dysfunctional, but I do have one. Oh dear. Anyway, on that note, I suppose we ought to leave. So
let them get on with it. So have a lovely time, whatever you're doing, wherever you are.
Exactly, wherever you are, and let us know. Let us know. So we'll see you next time. Cheerio.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye.